This year's Olympic Games was full of amazing moments when it came to running. We saw so many records set on the track, and it was honestly one of my favorite Olympics that I have ever gotten to experience. But one of the rather unfortunate things that happened took place in the marathon, and it was what happened with Eliud Kipchoge, who is, of course, the marathon GOAT. We've covered him many times on this channel, and ultimately, Kipchoge was not able to finish this year's Olympic marathon, as he dropped out somewhere between 25 and 30 kilometers. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to exactly what happened, because this actually was Eliud Kipchoge's first ever did not finish over the marathon distance. And let's not forget, he has now been competing in the marathon for 11 years, so his appearance in this third consecutive Olympics was already extraordinary. But there's been a bit more information that has recently come out about what happened to Kipchoge in this marathon, and from my perspective, it was different from what I thought, because it really seemed as though Kipchoge was affected by the hills that were in this race. And if you didn't see, the hills were just madness. The elevation gain and drop, it was bigger than any other previous Olympic marathon in history, and just seeing it with your eyes on the screen was crazy, so I can't even imagine what it was like when it was actually going down. But according to Kipchoge, he said that I had a pain in my back at about 20 kilometers and decided not to finish and tried to get out. I walked for 2 kilometers and had more than 300 people on either side of me walking with me. Now, it's also important to mention that during this walking stage, Kipchoge took off his socks, his shoes, his race number, and his shirt and gave it to the people who were walking with him and supporting him. As if you needed yet another reason to like Kipchoge, this was it. Literally giving the jersey off of his back to his fans during his third Olympic marathon appearance. Kipchoge also stated that he accepts this DNF as just another part of life, and he actually made a comparison to boxing. He said that today was a rough day at the office, you can train for a very long time, but on one day, it can happen. It's like boxing. You can go to a training camp for 5 months and be knocked out in 2 seconds, but life will continue. This is my worst marathon. I have never done a DNF, but that is life. I have been knocked down, I have won, I have come 2nd, 8th, 10th, and 5th, but now I did not finish, and that is life. At this point in his career, Kipchoge really has no more to prove when it comes to the marathon. He broke the world record twice, he went undefeated for close to a decade, and he also won 2 consecutive Olympic Games. But now fans are starting to question as to what his next move will be, and he stated that after the marathon, I don't want to comment on what will happen tomorrow. I want to try to evolve. If I don't evolve, then I will do other things. This is probably the lowest performing moment of Kipchoge's career in the marathon, or potentially even during his career. Even on the track, he didn't have any DNFs. This was just very difficult to watch. But what was quite entertaining here was the fact that we finally got to see Kipchoge versus Bekele back in Paris for the first time since 2003, a 21-year racing gap with both of these legends on the marathon start. And even though Kipchoge did not finish, Bekele did ultimately finish. But for him, he also didn't quite finish as high up as he certainly would have wanted. But either way, this was what happened with Kipchoge this year, and again, it is going to be interesting to see what happens. He said that he is interested in running more marathons in the future, and given that he will be turning 40 years old later this season, there is a chance that he could go after the Masters Marathon world record. And if you don't know, that time belongs to Kenenisa Bekele. And that time currently stands at 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 15 seconds that Bekele actually ran this very season at the London Marathon at 41 years old. Hopefully this is not the end of the great Eliud Kipchoge, because he has been such a pleasure to watch over the past decade. However, I will say that this will probably be the end of his Olympic appearances during his career. Kenya just cranks out so many great athletes, they are so competitive, and Benson Kipruto from Kenya did earn the bronze medal in this year's Olympic finals. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time.